Okay, so a couple of interesting things happened last week at the release of non-farm payroll figures. Some of you might have been a bit surprised that the figures all came in very strong, but yet the US dollar lost ground against most currencies, which is sometimes happens, and the reasons can be a bit of a mystery as to why that's happened. So I'll talk a little bit about that today. Try and give you a more of an insight from a trading point of view as to why some of these occurrences do happen, so that just because the figures come in strong doesn't necessarily mean that that's the way that the currency is going to go. Okay, so on most occasions, yes, it is, but there are times where that doesn't happen, and we are kind of left a little bit sort of confused as to why events happened as they have. As we look at our charts, I'll talk about it a little bit today, so just to give you more of an insight. Before I do that, this is what we have on our calendar for this week. As you can see, pretty much it's a very easy one to choose this week. We have a whole bunch of US data happening at the end of the week, okay, which is unemployment claims, the manufacturing index are key ones, and we have US data here in the middle, or the day before on the Thursday, which is retail sales. Okay, so all of this is US, and then we have a little bit of AUD right here, which is employment change and unemployment figures on the Thursday. We do have the euro over here and GBP, but basically this week it's a very easy one to decide. The Aussie US dollar is the one that's going to be the most affected, uh, data based. So make a note of those times, and it's predominantly going to be towards later in the week. So it's probably going to be Thursday, Friday is pretty much when everything's going to happen in terms of the data, which is not a bad thing. Today we have a nice clear day. Okay, there's nothing really there, so we can trade away. And I've pretty much started to trade today. I've taken a couple of little baby trades just to start to feel the market again. Today's the 12th of January. Most years I won't trade between around about the 15th of December to about the 15th of January, or at least the week that it falls on that. Now back, I'm starting to notice a little bit more volume through the market, just looking through orders and things like that. So I've started to feel the market, so we're pretty much on full steam ahead. All right, so please make a note. As always, these times are in my local time, which is Australian Eastern Standard or Sydney time. Make an adjustment to wherever you are globally so that you can keep track of those. Okay? Alright, so let us get straight into it. Let's bring up the charts. Let's see what we got. We'll start off this week with the Aussie dollar. Okay, now pretty much for this entire week, we had the first thing let's address. We had a couple of orders in the market. We were trying to buy in to the Aussie dollar at 80, okay, or 80 something. I can't remember exactly, but we were trying to buy in. I've cancelled my orders out. We were trying to buy in. The market came down to there two times. I think when we did our class last week, this one may have already happened, but this one happened later. I thought we were going to get triggered. We got down to about 80, let me just measure it, 80.33. I've got a low of about 80.33, and then basically it just shot up and it has not taken a breather. Okay, so 80, at that 80 level, there's a lot of buyers in there. It's pushed the market up. Okay, and right now we're sitting at 82.50. Now, looking at this particular market right now, let me just go to a daily chart. It is one that I feel I'm very confused about. Okay, at the moment, to be honest, the destination of 80 happened. That was clear. That was decisive. Over the long term, I feel that we are going to break 80 and we're going to continue down. It is throwing up a bit of a hurdle from the US side of things. Basically, there is still that push that they want to raise interest rates, whether it happens in the first quarter or the second quarter. Pretty much when that happens, that's really going to take the US over the top, which may help us to break through the 80 down to a lower figure. Okay. In the meantime, what I think is more than likely to happen is we're going to probably sit in some period of consolidation between the 80, and at this stage I really don't know how far up that's going to be, but it could be as high as the 85. Okay, and it's going to be volatile. What I'm really waiting to see, what I'm waiting to see is I'm waiting to see what happens as we approach that 50 SMA. Okay, so and I'm trying to find where this ceiling's going to be. Okay, because I think it's going to do this. What I don't know is whether it's going to be there, or a little bit tighter as such. Until I know where that top is, what we're going to do probably over the next two months is we're probably going to range trade the Aussie dollar. Okay, it's probably going. We've been in trend up until now. We've been in trend. We've just been pretty much sitting short. We've been doing very, very well out of it. I think the next phase at the moment, before we break through the 80, is it does appear that we're probably going to range more than anything else. So before we can start to range trade, we have to define where the range is. So what I'm waiting for right now is I'm waiting to see where is that ceiling going to be. So things that I'm interested in are, let's start to look for them. First of all, a fib level is going to help me out. So if I start to draw fib lines in this area here, okay, it starts to give me a clue roughly. And one point that I do like a lot, if you notice, the 61.8 fib is on the 85. Okay, so I know it's a big range. It's a 500 pip range. However, the market has been moving quite a lot. So this could be our new range. I'm not sure yet, but I'm just trying to find clues of where it may sit. We look out for things like, and we'll probably spot these together, we may channel up towards that and do it in this direction. So these are all the things that we have to start to look for. Pretty much with this chart, the way it sits right now, it's kind of like we're starting from scratch. To be honest, I got nothing. I got nothing that I'm half tracking or anything. So basically, I've got to start to look for everything from scratch. So I'm going to be looking for a top line. I'm looking for a channel. Alternatively, the other thing that may happen is if this all of a sudden drops down and we break through the 80, well then let's just jump back on and continue on that ride. Okay. One trade that I was going to look for, but I've changed my mind on at the moment, is I was going to look for a price action somewhere here to sell into it again. Okay. But because I've broken that high, I've changed my mind now. Okay. So essentially the Aussie dollar this week and right at the moment seems to be quite volatile. All right, which is not a bad thing. I'm happy about that. But what I want to, first of all, before I start to trade it, is I want to establish what my new range. It's kind of like we're about to go and play a game on an oval and there's no lines marked. Okay, it's much easier to orientate yourself around the field when all the markings on the line are there. So I'm looking for markings. I'm pretty sure we got one. That 80 seems to me like it's going to be a bit firm to break through. It might take 2 or 3 goes before we get through it. So if that is the case, then and I get a top line, then I'm going to do a bit of this. Okay, that's the first thing that I'm looking for. Alternatively, I'm going to start to look for, so this point over there, as soon as I get that, then I've got the top line, and then I'm going to start to look for this. Okay, now I'm not necessarily saying that we're going up yet. However, it starts to define some kind of an area for me. Long term, I still believe that especially if the US does what it's got to do, it really does put us towards that 70 area, 75, 76 in there. It's going to take a little bit of effort to break through though. Does that make sense to everybody? Do we understand what I'm talking about? I don't just want to place a trade for no reason. Right now, I just can't see one. So for this week, with the Aussie dollar, I'm going to say let's stay on the sidelines, let's monitor, and let's try and define where the next levels are going to be. Okay, I was kind of curious to see what was going to happen here, but this morning we've broken above and we're pushing forward. All right, so that's gone out the window. We just got to wait and see it out. Okay, so Aussie dollar this week, basically nothing. Now, while I'm on this now, this is Friday's candle. Okay, all right. US data, non-farm payroll came out Friday, or let's call it early morning, Saturday morning, 12 midnight, 12:30 midnight, and the figures were pretty much all good. So there was more jobs, new jobs created than forecasted, which was a big tick. There was the unemployment levels had fallen more than there was forecasted, which is a big tick. So pretty much the two major pieces of news were good. Initially, the market, and you can see it probably better against the US yen or the Euro USD, but I'll talk about it right now. It did have a positive impact, but then as the market started to digest the information, what happened? We got this big blue candle over here. So when the reality was we had strong US data, why did we not get a big red candle and we got a blue one? Okay, this sometimes happens. There was a third bit of news that came out, which is not really the one that stills the highlight of the show, but that third bit of news was that the average hourly earnings rate had dropped for the first time in 2 years. Now, it was a little bit of bad news amongst a whole bunch of good news, okay? But what it did mean was that it kind of there were so many people already on long-term positions with the US currency, okay, that it basically gave people an excuse to profit take. Okay, once they started to profit take, it started to roll the other way, and it becomes one of those situations where you're watching a chart, if you think about it emotionally, that you're thinking, oh, I've got a healthy profit on this trade. Let's say you're short Aussie dollar and you're down over here somewhere, okay, and then the news comes out, you're hanging tight because you really want to see it push down, and then all of a sudden you see a little tiny bit of bad news come along and you think, oh, what do I do? And then you're now 30 pips, 40 pips, 50 pips, and you go, what, you know what, it's going the other way, and you jump out with everybody else in that, I guess, it's not pandemonium, but it's kind of like with that euphoria. You jump out simply to collect your profit. Okay, so all those people that collected profit, essentially what they did was they pushed it back up in the other direction. Now the move wasn't massive, okay, we're only talking about 40, 50 pips, but nevertheless it gave us a blue candle when in theory we should have got a red candle. Does that explanation make sense to us? Are we understanding sort of what I mean a little bit? Yep. Great. Okay, because you will see this happen often. Okay, but if you understand the fundamentals and you understand exactly what's happening, it's a short-term thing. So this week, because the Aussie dollar is under so much data, I really need to wait it out and see where we're going to sit with it. Okay, so let's leave the Aussie alone for this week. Let me move on. Let's have a look at the euro. By the way, as always, if you have a question, ask away more and I'll answer it as we go along. Okay, let me count back where we were last week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last week we created this gap. Remember, we talked about this gap and we were wondering if the market was going to come back and close it. From memory, we had a sell, Oh, by the way, on the Aussie dollar, you can cancel out your 80 buy if you want to. If not, you can leave it. It's a strong level. Eventually, if we get there, you'll get triggered, or otherwise, just go back and cancel that order out. Okay. On the Euro USD, we were wondering if we were going to be able to close that gap. It has not happened as yet. The gap is still open. Okay. We were trying to sell the euro. I can't remember what level, 123 or something like that. That's gone, so please make sure you cancel out your Euro USD sell. We did not get triggered and the market's pushed down. Okay, now let's have a look at this setup that we got right now. Who likes this? Who likes this? Does anybody have a comment on it? Okay, so Bijan likes it. We have an engulfing. Yes, the bodies are engulfing, so it's a harami. Okay. Also, it's an inside bar as well. It's not one that looks so obvious, but it's an inside bar. Can everybody see that it's an inside bar as well? Okay. Brett saying it looks like it may consolidate. Yes, perhaps. Okay. Now, there's a couple of things I just want to point out right now. This is the reason why price action trading by itself, if we just apply it by itself, isn't as effective. Okay. Now, for all intensive purposes, this setup right there is a fantastic setup to jump all over that. Okay. If, only if I had a big support over here, whether it's a channel or something. Okay. Okay, Lois says it's hit the lower Bollinger Band. Okay. All right, fantastic. The Bollinger Band I wouldn't count as a support. The Bollinger Band is kind of like an indicator that perhaps it may be time to turn, but it's definitely not a support or like a channel or something like that. If I had something down the bottom here that was supporting this candle formation, by all means, that's a fantastic trade. Now, if I'm an aggressive trader, I could have a little bit of a go at it. Okay, I could. I'm really having it. It's like a 50-50. Maybe it's a little bit better than 50-50 because it really is a nice setup. Okay, I do like the setup. It's just the only thing I don't like about it is that it's not in the correct place. So what we've got to do is we've got to analyze a couple of other things. So let me have a closer look at something else. Let me go into a 4-hour chart, see if I can justify anything and see if I can help us out. And I can. Let me show you. This is where the more references that we can find, the nicer it is. I'm going to drop in a set of parallel lines. Oh, sorry, I got them back to front. Okay, let me just play around with it. Let me just adjust them a little bit. Are we happy with that, where I've got them right now? I've got one touch and I've got two touches. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay. All right. So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to increase the probability of the trade for myself. Okay. On the daily chart, everybody agrees that I want to go long. Okay. However, when I go into a 4-hour chart, what am I concerned about now? What are we concerned about? I'm concerned about what might happen here. Okay. Can everybody see that there's a probability that I could bounce back off that top channel? Okay. Great. So now, by being just a little bit more patient, we can set this trade up to increase. I don't know the numbers, but let's pretend if it was a 50% probability trade, I can bring this trade up to about a 70% probability if we do this. Okay, so what I'm looking for is if we break this channel now, if we break it, then remembering your daily, then I'm definitely all over that trade. Okay, so leave the channels on the chart, and let's have a look at the daily chart now. Let me zoom in. Let me. Okay, how many times have we seen a chart that kind of goes like this, does this, and then just continues to go down? We see this all the time. Okay, so this is the one reason I don't want to take the trade just based off those two candles. However, if I break the channel up, then I'm happy to take the trade up. Okay? So what are we going to look for? We're going to look to see what happens on the four. So we're going to trade this based off a 4-hour candle. And are we happy to trade it down? I'm actually happy to trade it down. The trade that I really want to happen, to be honest, is I want to see a candle here with a fractal, and then I actually want to trade it down. That's the trade that I would prefer, because I know that if we break this low here, there's going to be some serious acceleration down. Okay, so to be honest, I prefer to trade it downwards. However, if I break the channel, I'm going to quite happily trade it the other direction. We all on board, we all understanding. So what I would need for a break up, I want a candle to close above here. I'm on the 4-hour chart here, just to highlight that. I want a candle to close above the channel. If it closes above the channel, let's just say it's there, somewhere like that, at the open or the very next candle, happy to go for it. Okay, so that's what I would be looking for this particular trade. If I don't get a candle that closes above, and I end up with a scenario that I get a candle something like this, and then another candle here, say for example, and this one's got the fractal, well, then I'm looking for price action to guide me back down. Okay, that's the trade. It's not ready yet, but it will be within about 3 to maybe 5 candles, I believe. So what I'll do when I see it, I'll send out a Twitter message. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see if we can pick it up live as it happens. Okay? We all clear? And our plan is set for the Euro USD. We'll just have to wait it out and see what happens. All right, let us move on. Let's have a look at the GBP USD. GBP USD. Oh, whoa, have a look at this. Okay. I've got one. I think I drew this channel last week, but we were over here somewhere. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. So I had the 3 touches at the top. I drew parallel lines. This is ready to go right now. Who agrees? Is this ready to go? Let me zoom in a bit better. Let's have a look at it. This is GBP. I talked about last week how the 150 level was going to offer something. Okay? And consequently it did. It got as low as, I've got a low of 150.33. And the buyers have come in. Okay? Now, I've got a bit of a setup here. I've got the fractal right there. I've got an engulfing body, a nice pin tail down the bottom. I'm going to take this trade at market right now. Let me just organize my thoughts on the risk on it, and I'm going to actually, what you can do, if you feel a bit nervous, okay, about taking a market trade, you can, say for example, let me just zoom in so we can all see this really, really well. Let's say that we can see that the level that we're on right now is the open. Well, it's actually better than the opening price because it opened high and it's come down. So I'm getting a better entry than if I had taken the trade this morning. But sometimes you feel a bit nervous about taking a market order. So what you can do is just pick a level just a little bit below, like, I don't know, let's just say, for example, there where I've just drawn that line as an example, and you can put a pending order to buy off that line. Now, the danger, of course, is that this just goes up, doesn't come down, and you don't get triggered into the trade. All right, I'm going to place a pending order as I've shown you, and then I'm going to take a trade with a, let me think about this. So this one's going to go onto everybody's account, so we'll risk $50 on this one. Okay, it meets the criteria. Let me just bring up my, so yes, I'm placing this on the non-aggressive copy account. So if you don't want to double up, don't place the trade because you'll be in it already. So I'm going to try and get in at 151.35. I'm going to call it, so here, buy limit 151.35, and I'm going to do a $50 risk on the trade. My stop 151.35 in terms of pips is about, I'm going to call it 110 pips, and I'm going to target about this far across, just under 154. 153, let's call it 94. And am I right? 153. Sorry, I'm just talking to myself. Looks okay. Let's place it. Platform error. Got to turn on the auto trading. Oh, got to go through it again. Sorry, guys. Okay, I know what the problem is. I've got to measure it in pips. I've got to stay consistent. $240. I'll move it if I have to. Okay, see if third time lucky. Okay. Did everybody follow that? So we can see, and again I'll repeat, that order has gone live onto the non-aggressive account. Okay, so if you don't want to double up, don't take the trade. So I'm going to try and get in there. My stop is underneath there. If we get there, we're going to lose $50, and what I'm going to try and do is trade it up to there. That's the trade. Okay, so that we spotted this one last week, and it came let's think of it as a plant growing or a fruit growing. It matured today, so the trade was ready today. Okay, so that's GBP USD. Let me just have a quick look on a 4-hour chart. Is there anything else that I should be aware of? I always like to double check. No, not at all. So we're all set. GBP USD. We have a pending order about 30 pips away. So hopefully, to get rid of the nerves, I like to do this the way that I've done it. I mean, I could enter the trade right now. The danger in what I did is if this goes up, I don't get triggered and I miss out on the trade. That's the danger. Okay. The benefit is if it goes down, I get a better price and I don't have to panic and worry about entering live into the market. Okay. All right. One last thing. I just want to check the size of that trade. Yep, 0.03. That's fine. It's all good. All right. Gold. Gold. So I got stopped out in gold. Did we get stopped out? For those of you that saw the Twitter message, you should be stopped out. Okay. Now the setup was really good. There was nothing wrong with the setup. It's just one of those things. That's the way it basically happened. Now, this is interesting right now. And this is one of the downsides or one of the frustrations of drawing trend lines and things like that. Because if I just grab this line now, I've got to see, am I able to replace it and that still looks good now? And the answer is, it kind of does right now, okay, which is annoying. So what I'm going to really be looking for, I'm going to have another go at gold, but it's not ready right now. What we're going to do is I need to readjust my line. Now that trade, we did get forward a little bit. We were up a little bit and then it's come back and stopped us out. Okay, so it was unfortunate. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to either wait. If this one closes above like that and we clear that, then we're ready to actually trade the break out of the triangle. Okay. However, I need to wait for this candle to see what this does, because this might end up being a candle kind of like this, and I might be able to readjust my line for it. The very next candle could be in here, something like that. I get the fractal and then I'm ready to go back down. Okay, if I get the setup to go down again, I will take the trade again. Okay, as long as it's a nice setup. So as long as the setup is a legitimate setup, I will get it and I'll trade it again. Okay, so the way that you should trade this, as an example, if you took this one, if you took this first trade, and let's just say for hypothetical value, just to keep the numbers easy, let's just say you risked $50 on that trade. Okay, so you're down 50. Okay, if you risk 50 again, you this kind of trade is 2 to 1. Okay, so if we pick it up on the next one, we break even. Okay, but the bigger trade is going to be this way. If it breaks up, this is the amount that we're aiming for. Okay, so the bigger trade is the upward. I will trade it back down if the setup is good. Does everybody follow? We're understanding? Okay, so, and this is part of trading, and this is part of, remember, letting go to probability, and hopefully probability will, over the course of many trades, will show itself and help us out. Helen's saying, does it need to break high before we get in? Look, these are the things that I think about. To answer your question, Alan, this is what I think about when I'm drawing lines. Okay, the original line, I had it down here, a little bit down, which was satisfactory. At that point in time, I was happy right there to trade it back down. What's happened now is I've closed above this high. Okay, I've closed above that high. Well, I haven't actually closed yet, but I've cleared that high. So instantly now I need to that before I say that this line has failed, before I say that it's failed, I need to recheck how good that line was. So the first thing that I did was, can I redraw it and still satisfy the conditions? And up there, the answer is yes. I still can because I've got that, and I've got that. However, if this continues to go up, and then I've got to start drawing the line, like right now, I'm starting to go, yes, I'm still holding a line across 2 points, but now what happened to this point? I'm starting to leave it behind. So what you'll find is that if you actually clear that high, so that means you're up there somewhere, you clear it, you'll find that your line now starts to look silly, and now that line is no good. So therefore, you got your confirmation. You've taken out a high. Your line's no good. So reality is, what happened is your line was over there somewhere. You've broken out, and what you got to do is jump on board. Does that make sense, Alan? Look, normally I like to clear the previous high. Okay. In theory, this was the previous high, but consequently, when I redraw the line, it's not. This is the previous high on the line. So I want to clear it. I want to see some confirmation, or I want to see something maybe like this to bounce back off it. This is the hardest part about trading with these lines. Okay, hindsight, very easy to draw the lines once it's already happened. When we're drawing them live, these are the things that we have to consider that helps us make a genuine line or not a genuine line. Okay, so, and I think I've tried to explain it very, very clear right now how I had to redraw the line. And basically, I'm admitting that the first trade that we took, it was technically, it was really, really good trade. It failed, and now I have to come back and check how is my original line still in the correct place. And at the moment, I can say no, I can move it a little bit, but I don't have much more room to move it. This candle moves up a little bit more, that's it. At some point I have to say no, it has broken and I'm ready to go the other way. Okay? I wish it was easier, but this is the way that it is. So this is one of the reasons why I kind of look at price action, trading with trend lines and things like that only once students are a lot more advanced, because they keep coming back to me and saying, yes, Christian, but you drew the line there, now you drew it like that, so you can't keep changing your mind. How am I going to find the trade? It's not me that's moving the line, it's the market, and I'm just trying to accommodate, and I'm trying to put it in a place that gives me the confidence to pull the trigger. Alright, Lois is saying near the top of the Bollinger on the line. I haven't looked at a Bollinger here. Let me have a quick look. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I still like the triangle better than the Bollingers on this one, Lois. So, no dramas, but yes, well noted. Okay, alright, so I will tweet something out if I see it. I've got to wait and see what this candle looks like. Could we get a fishing strip? Yeah, you could. You could, but if you get a fishing strip, what's going to happen is this one's going to have to be up to about there to get the fishing strip. Okay, and if I get that, I'm going to go straight away the other way. And yes, if you get the fishing strip, well, then you're in trouble now because it's gone against you. Okay, so that would be, well, you would get the fishing strip one day later. All right, and that would be one case where one strategy says one thing and the other one says something else. I still going to choose this. over the fishing strip, because this pattern has been observed by many people over the last 3-4 months. Okay, it's got much more strength and more participation. Okay, all right, so that's gold. I need to wait and see that. We did get stopped out on gold. US yen. Okay, well, got stopped out on gold, but US yen gave us a good trade. I called it out live as it happened, and I also called out to get out. This was the trade, identical trade. We traded price action on a support line. This time it didn't fail us and it went down. I think the trade got as high as 140 or 135 pips. I think I sent out a message later the same day that I sent it out at about plus 95 or plus 100 or something like that, to collect profit or move to even or do something. The ones that got stopped out on gold, did you take the yen trade as well? At least you would have cancelled out. So they were almost identical trades. So one stopped you out, one got you a profit. Hopefully you made something on it. No? Did anybody take the US yen trade down? There was a Twitter one. Yes, Bijan did. Okay, fantastic. Okay, now the top line, I'm still happy with the top line here. Rav, yes, great. The bottom line, I still don't know where to place it. Like, I could put it there, but it's I don't think that's correct. So I've got it here. Just I'm still waiting for the confirmation where the bottom line is going to go. So I've still got it floating. So really the only way that I can really trade is with a top line, not the bottom one yet. But what I did notice when I go into a 4-hour chart, I've noticed that I have a little bit of a channel here. Can I make some adjustments? Get it. I'm pretty happy with the position there. Don't let the white lines throw you off. Just concentrate on the yellow ones. Okay. So who's happy with that 4-hour channel there? I've got one touch, two. There's a few touches there. I've got a touch there, and I've got a touch there. Okay. So we're all happy. In many ways, a channel is easier to trade than a triangle, because with the channel they have to be parallel. Okay, so when we get to this area here, I can't move this line up or down. It's locked in for me. As soon as I got the 4 touches, that's it. It's locked in, and it makes it easier to trade. So if you're finding it difficult, then if we're thinking of a progression of your skill level, channels are easier to trade than triangles. Okay, because the triangles you can move and play around with the lines. So what you may want to do is trade channels first, and as you get better and your confidence grows, then you can come into the triangles. The idea of me sending you the trades as they happen is to help bridge your learning curve and accelerate you through it, so that you can we can all basically learn together. Okay, all right. So having said that, US yen, really, I'm looking for this trade over there. That's what I'm looking for. So I need to wait for it. Okay, so I need to wait to see what happens there. What I am noticing though is that looks like it could accelerate down. I don't want to trade it down. It looks to me like it can, but I don't want to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait right over here for that. Okay, so, and if it happens, once that does happen, on the assumption that it does happen, that will then lock in my bottom line as well. Okay, so once I know where that point is, this oops, that's not a good color. This line here will lock in. Okay, then I'll know exactly how far or how much I had to slide it to lock it in for the larger daily triangle. Okay, so at the moment, US yen this week, we need to wait to see what happens in this area. Any questions on the US yen? On the daily chart with the US yen, this really highlights Friday's candle there, how we got strong non-farm payroll data, but the US dollar lost ground against the yen. Okay, and that's like I explained earlier, based on the hourly earning rate. First time it's dropped in 2 years, and a combination of clients, combination of the market taking profit, caused that candle there. All right. Now, one thing to note, is there anybody still this trade that we took over here? Is anybody still in it? Because if you're still in it, this is looking really good now. It's come down. It looks like if it breaks this level, it looks like there's more in it for you. Okay, so if you are, it'd be an idea to hang in on that one. Oh, you just closed it. That's okay. You've made a good profit on it anyway, Bijan. All right. Okay, let's move on. Euro yen. Euro yen. Struggling to find something on the euro yen, but what I can see is if I do a fib extension from down there to up there, I'm currently right on the 61.8. It's not smack on the 140, okay? So it's not really a fib round number combination. It is, however, a fib level. So what I'm interested in is I want to see a supportive candle pattern. Let me zoom in a bit better so we can see it. What I'd like to see is I'd like to see a candle here with the fractal and engulfing candle, and then give me a direction to trade upwards. Alright, so that's only going to happen, that's 3 candles away, so that's 3 days away. So as we sit right now, I mean, if you wanted to trade this, it's a little bit aggressive. We're sitting at 140.10 coming into London. Not sure if that level's going to hold. We are at the 61.8. I don't like it. Let's wait. Okay, let's wait for a candle pattern, see if this level holds a confirmation, and then we can get a trade out of it. At the moment, euro yen, let's do nothing other than we need to wait for this candle pattern to happen and to see if we can get a trade. When I looked at this setup earlier in the day, it looked better, but since then it's been coming down, so I don't think it's going to hold. Okay. Alternative, there's another type of trade that you can trade. Let me see if I can see it better on a small time frame. Oh, no, don't worry about it. It's not, it doesn't look that good. So what we're going to do euro yen this week is we are going to wait another candle or two to see if I get a setup for a buy. Okay, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. It probably looks higher probability that it's going to continue down, but I'm not willing to trade it down. All right, let's move on. Kiwi dollar. Kiwi dollar, we were trying to buy at 76. We came down as low as 76.17. We didn't get triggered. Go back, delete your order out if you have not. Oh, frustration. That was a really trade. It was a trade that we were looking for, very similar to the Aussie buy at 80. We just didn't get triggered. Now, what I did notice on a 4-hour chart, I noticed that we had a fib round number combination at 78. Did anybody trade that here? Did anybody get that? I was just so looking at the 76 that I missed it. No one got it. Okay, doesn't matter. It was there. We can see it. We had a fib round combination. Now, looking at my daily chart, let me get rid of these fib lines. This line that we've been tracking with all those touches, I can't redraw this. If I redraw this, it's not that good. So I think it's broken. Okay, see, redrawing it doesn't look nowhere near as good as it did before. So to me, it looks broken. So a couple of options that I have now. Okay, broken, but we didn't get a close above that. We've peaked up today, but we've come back down. So I'm either looking for this. This is the trade that I'm really, really looking for. I had something else in mind, but this is not that good. We're looking for. I need a candle that shows me something. Okay, so and I don't have it right now. I thought about trading a double top. A double top. However, when I stepped into a 4-hour chart, the double top has already been traded. Have a look at this. There's the top there, and look, it shot down afterwards by about 50 pips. So the double top's been traded. I don't want to try it again. I mean, it could happen, but it's lower chance this time. So the Kiwi dollar is really a little bit confusing at the moment. I actually want to sell it, but I've been shown more opportunities to buy it than to sell it. So if we there's a fishing strip on it on a 1 hour. Let me have a look. Oh, did that get stopped out? Would have been close. Oh, that just hung on, I think. I'm not sure. So Karen saying there was your setup, didn't get stopped out, so you're at break even. Oh, over here, Alan, that right there gets very, very close. When I add my 5 pips with the spread, it would have got close, but no, it's. Oh yes, you got stopped out. Did you go 5 pips above? Because I get a high approximately. Yeah, it's very, very close. I don't know. Okay. Okay, so Karen's still in, so you didn't get stopped out. Okay, not a problem. Well, if you're still in, that looks okay. You're coming closer to. You might as well hang in there. Okay. On a daily, look, this is it. This is the only thing I can see. I'm looking for something here to bounce back off that line. Okay. So it's the only trade that I can see. So other than that, I'll have to leave this one alone. I'm going to wait for a little overshoot, and then I'm looking for something to bounce on that line that I've already got drawn in there. Okay, so that's it for this week on the Kiwi dollar. Let me move on and go to the Euro Aussie. Wow, the Euro Aussie just keeps on dropping. Okay, so the Aussie obviously making heavy ground on the Euro. The trade that I've been looking for the whole week. I think last week we were over here at this candle over there, and what I was looking for, I was going to be looking for a price action bounce off this line there. It hasn't happened, so now I'm going to have to look for something over here as we get towards this support level, whether it's going to be a bounce or whether it's going to be a breakthrough. So it's very, very much in one direction. There's nothing happening. Let me have a quick look on a 4-hour chart. It's not really a channel there either. Kind of. Nah, it's not really good enough, so I don't like it. But with channels, I kind of like them more like that. Okay, so that one's a no. Allen's up 380 on a T chaser. Yes. Okay, trend following. The T chaser's been doing very well. So there's quite a few trades that are up quite a lot on the T chaser. It only got triggered not too long ago. I think it got triggered on about this candle there somewhere. Three candles ago, I think. So well done to Alan. Sorry, yeah, well done to Alan. Look, Euro Aussie, I'm just going to wait for a turnaround, and I can't pull the trigger. Like I don't have a reason to buy, simply because it's moved in like how much is it? Geez, it's 1,000 pips. Okay, it's moved 1,000 pips. Still, I don't have a reason to buy it. Okay, so I can't buy it, and I can't sell it either. I don't have a reason to sell it either. So unless you're already in it, like Alan is, based off something else, then you kind of sit it out. This is the next. Let's think of it, the next exit point that I'm going to be curious to see what happens. Okay. So that's pretty much it. Let me summarize. Let's see what's happened. If you have a question, type it in. And I'll address it for you.